Good morning, everyone. We're continuing here in Hilchis KASHRUS of Binyamin Forst, and we're in the laws of Basar v'Chalav, milk and meat together. And this little chapter is entitled Blia Shalei B'derech Bishul. When you have blias, which means that it gets kind of swallowed up, the meat and the milk get swallowed up inside of each other without even the function of cooking. Mizeh she'aTorah kos ve'isur zeh b'loshen bishul. The Torah itself, when it speaks about not combining meat and milk together, it talks about it in a language of bishul, of cooking. So therefore, according to the Torah, which means the Deraisa law, the only prohibition of meat and milk is when it's actually cooked together. Like we said, that's when the milk and the meat gets cooked as one together. However, if you soak meat in milk, afilu kama yamim, even if you leave it there for many days, which would almost be like pickling something, even though it's clear that some of the milk was absorbed into the meat, and certainly some of the flavor of the meat was absorbed and entered into the milk, so that if you would drink that milk, you'd be able to have a little bit of a taste of the meat that is there. And if you ate the meat, there certainly would be some remnants of the milk that got absorbed into the flesh of that meat. Nevertheless, the general principle is, Kol shelo nizbashlu yachad, any meat and milk that was not cooked together, ein b'hem isur min haTorah, there is no Torah prohibition to these things. Because when the Torah specifies the prohibition of meat and milk, it talks about it in a language of cooking. Amnam, however, asumid the Rabbanan came along and they added a gezer, a decree that makes it prohibited. Kol basar shenivla b'seichei chalav, any meat that has milk that got absorbed inside of it, v'chein chalav shekol hatam basar, and any milk that ends up retaining some of the taste of the meat that is inside of there. Therefore, any time that meat falls into milk, or some milk sprayed onto meat, you have to go and ask your local Orthodox rabbi if you have to be concerned or not. So if it would be just in general terms speaking, if you'd end up having a piece of meat that would fall into a pot or to a vat of milk, so you'll have to know if it was in there long enough to be able to give off its tam, to give off its flavor into the milk or not, or if there was a large enough amount of milk that the flavor of the meat doesn't even penetrate such a large amount. And so too, if the milk is being absorbed into the meat, you have to know if it came in contact long enough for the absorption rate to take place. Okay, we'll continue. There's much more to say on these halachas over here, and you keep this in mind when you're in the kitchen, because these are things that happen not on a regular basis, but certainly things that do arise. Have a wonderful day.